I have a bit of a winter respiratory infection. Hopefully the sound comes through and hopefully we don't have interference from other objects. Anyway, good afternoon from the Capital One Lounge here at Dulles International Airport. It just opened like a month or two ago. Time's kind of traveling strangely for me, or flowing strangely for me, and this is my first chance to experience it. So far my impressions are that it's a very nice lounge. It has lots of really neat perks, and I'm going to try to swap the camera around so you can see what we're dealing with. Yeah, so here is the general area. We have buffet eating over there under Refresh, and then there's a bar behind that giant plant. I didn't think about where that plant was positioned. And the food here is definitely excellent. It is locally crafted and made fresh with locally sourced ingredients, and it is presented beautifully as bites, as individual bites, and you get 6 bites, and that's basically a meal. And they have gluten-free options, they have vegetarian options, they have vegan options. Everything that I tasted was really delicious. So I'm now kind of full, even though it was like 6 bites. They also have a grab-and-go case here, which is really nice, and they literally give you paper bags. Like most lounges, most lounges don't want you to take food from them. They prohibit it. In fact, I even once got dinged for trying to take a bottle of water, for Christ's sake. A little bottle, not a big one. But this lounge, they hand you a paper bag, and they have a grab-and-go section, and at the barista, they hand you that, and you can have many bags as you want and take as much food as you want with you. So it's really nice for people traveling in economy class that you can have really good quality food that you don't have to pay for, and it's definitely on your flight with you. And they have a barista, a proper barista with really high quality tea. They've got actually this is jasmine pearl, and actually whoever packed these tea bags packed a little too much pearl into it. But yeah, so they have whole leaf teas, and they've got a really good selection of coffee, and all of that can also be gotten to go. And if you come here and there's a line, but you just want food and drink, or you're in a rush, no problem. You can just go straight to the grab and go. You don't even have to bother going into the lounge because it's right at the entrance where the check-in area is, where the front desk is. So Capital One has really done a nice job on this place. It's got an elegant contemporary feel, which isn't necessarily my personal preference for look, but it's pleasant. It's a pleasant space. It has some kind of odd sounding lounge music going, but it's at least somewhat unobtrusive enough to not be irritating. They have all kinds of different seating, different, like this thing, it's like this rotating rotating sofa thing. It's very curious. And yeah, they've got a full bar. There's lots of people lined up at the bar. There was actually a line. It seems to have emptied out now. Actually, when I got here, there was a line, and I had to wait. They told me I'd have to wait 20 minutes. I was like, that's fine. Within 5 minutes, I'd already received a message on my phone that they were ready for me, and now it seems that the place is really cleared out significantly. So I guess there was some kind of preponderance of flights with Capital One Venture holders or Capital One Venture X credit card holders. They're gone now, but there was a line also at the bar, and I have to say that lounges, they get their money's worth for me in the sense of whatever annual fees I'm paying to get the credit card that allows me to access. I'm not maximizing my lounge value because I don't really drink alcohol, and I definitely don't drink when I'm traveling alone. So I'm not up there, shoveling down the top shelf. And here at the Capital One Lounge, all the drinks are complimentary. There's a lot of airline lounges these days, excuse me, that are charging they're charging extra surcharges for certain levels of alcohol from the bar. Not here, it's all included in the price. So if you want that top shelf gin, I guess, in your cocktail, then you get it. Or if you just want the top shelf gin, then you get it. They even have a soda bar, a soda fountain with like locally crafted soda instead of the usual, commercial junk that's like 90% corn syrup and water and some chemical that gives you the impression of it having flavor. Let's see, other things. They even have a family room. That's something I forgot in my last stream. They have a family room, so if you have babies or children, there's actually, it feels a little bit like a jail actually, because it's like this heavy door that opens into a wall, and I don't think there are windows or anything, but Either way, you can go in there with your kids and not worry about disturbing anyone, and the kids can just be kids, which is, for parents with small children, that is really what you need when you're traveling. You need to be able to let them run, exhaust themselves, and then if you're lucky, they'll just pass out on the plane. Let's see, other things. Yeah, that's it. That's it for the lounge. I can highly recommend how to access the lounge. Capital One lounges are only 3 or 4 at this point, and you can access them if you have the Capital One Venture card. I can actually show you what that looks like. Venture Rewards card. It's the one with a $95 annual fee. It currently looks like this. And you get 2 free passes per year to any Capital One lounge with that card. No guests, just you. You'd have to pay. If you have guests and they don't have their own card, then you have to pay for them. If you have, however, the Venture X card, Venture X, with the $395 annual fee, then you get unlimited access to Capital One lounges across the globe. There aren't that many right now. Like I said, 3 or 4. They are expanding their network. And I would say that this is definitely on par in terms of, everything with an American Express lounge. The exception there is that some American Express lounges have napping areas, but they've been getting rid of those. So this one doesn't have a napping area. And some American Express Centurion lounges have spas, although again, they've been getting rid of those as well. The Capital One lounge has neither spa nor nap area. It is what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and, for people who are just joining, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what the Capital One lounge is like by reversing my camera. That is the bar area, and over there under refresh is where all the lovely, crafted, beautifully plated, delicious nibblies are. And they had quite an interesting array of types of things and flavors. So and actually there's lots of greens and salads. And the grab and go section, they actually have beautiful, really good looking, like kale salad and chopped salad in a cup with, you just shake it and then you can eat it straight from the thing. So for those who are just joining the grab and go here at the Capital One Lounge, they actually have a grab and go shelf. Case, that's what I'm looking for. They have all sorts of delicious sandwiches and salads and yogurts and pita even, falafel and pita, and they give you paper bags with little handles, and you can take as much grab and go as you want with you to your flight, which is super considering that American flag carrier airlines are pretty much offering nothing unless your flight is 3 hours or more. Even to people in first class, the only thing you get is a nice, pretty snack basket with some things that don't really satisfy any nutritional needs. So definitely I can recommend the Capital One Lounge. If you have a long layover at Dulles, or if you're checking in, if you're starting your journey at Dulles, it's definitely worth a stop. The Capital One Lounge here at Dulles is right after TSA, the TSA lines, so it's attached to the main terminal. So don't go to your gate and then look for the Capital One Lounge. It's far away. So if you're checking in, starting your journey at Dulles, come to the lounge first, then go to your gate. What's nice is when you check in here, they actually tell you, they ask what your gate is, and then they tell you how long you probably need to get there and how to do it. It's really kind of a full service establishment here. And the staff is working extremely hard to keep this place clean after all of us monkey travelers who just kind of generally trash every space we inhabit. They're mopping floors, they're sweeping, they're wiping up, they're straightening up, they're bringing out constant fresh food. It's a really classy act here, and definitely classier than a lot of the Delta Sky Clubs I've seen lately. Although the last one it was very nice. But some of them, the one in the B terminal in Atlanta I'm thinking of, can become horrifyingly awful. And it's not the problem, the staff are trying their best, but you just have so many travelers there who don't care, many of whom are probably intoxicated because of the free alcohol, that they just make a mess. But here, they're really on top of it. And I really do, and now that there's fewer people, I'm much more comfortable here. It was less comfortable when I felt like it was chock-a-block humanity. I mean, I like people, but I do get a crowd. I do have some crowd issues. That's why I don't go to concerts unless it's a symphony concert with everyone seated calmly. Anyway, enough of my psychological issues. Today's journey is actually leg 1 that I just finished from Atlanta up to here, and I started on United Airlines. And see, this whole round the United States tour that I've just taken for this last month, I actually booked the return ticket first back in August because Turkish Airlines was offering a special on award flights from Seoul to the United States via Istanbul. And so instead of it costing 180,000 points, which is what it would normally cost, I was able to get this ticket for 67,000 points. And, well, actually, it was a little bit expensive on the taxes and fees were like $400, which it's still worth it, but it does reduce the value of your points if you have to pay that much in taxes and fees. Anyway, that was for the end of this trip, a flight for the end of this trip where I was able to get the good deal was from Washington, D.C. So that meant no matter where I ended up on my journey as part of my natural visiting of friends, I needed to get to Washington, D.C. So here's a tip. If you're trying to find an award fair and you find a good deal, but it's not to exactly the airport you want, look for an airport that will connect you to it that you can buy a cheap connection ticket for. So I was in Atlanta visiting friends, and I was able to get a ticket on United for $134 one way from Atlanta to Dulles. And I specifically looked for United because United is a Star Alliance partner. Tip: if you have a flight with multiple carriers along the route and you haven't booked them all on the same ticket or reservation, if they're in an alliance like Star Alliance or SkyTeam, OnePass, etc., then you can actually have the agents book it. I'll book your check your luggage all the way through to your final destination. So the United agent at Atlanta was excellent. Her name was Kimberly. She was wonderful. She spent 15 minutes fighting with the system to get it to do what she wanted. And she managed to get my luggage checked in Atlanta, and it is now checked all the way through to Seoul, and I don't have to worry about it again. And because in Korea I actually have a fair bit of belongings waiting me, I don't really care if my luggage doesn't make it all the way to me, and if they have to, or at the airport rather, and if they just happen to have to deliver it to my apartment directly later, on as a follow-on, that's fine with me. It's only the beginning of a trip when I care about getting my luggage instantly, really, but at the end of the trip, I'm okay with it getting left behind, lost, or missent, and them having to just deliver it to me, because then I don't have to worry about schlepping it on trains and buses to get home and taxis to get home. Anyway, let's see. So that's tip one. If you're booking, if part of your journey is an award ticket and part is a revenue ticket, if you can manage to make them be in the same alliance, you can have your luggage checked all the way through. Also, the United agent was super nice and friendly, and she was not a stickler about the weight of my bag. So because of my United Club card, I actually get 2 free checked bags on any United flight, no matter my class of service, for 23 kilograms. Well, at least. First class, I would get 32. But problem is that I have a couple of extra. I've made some purchases over the past couple of weeks that have raised the weight of my bags, and so they were both each over 23 kilograms. One was like 24.57, and the other was 23.59, or 25 even. She didn't pay attention to that. She was not a stickler. I have had check-in agents for various United States flag carriers who have absolutely stuck to it's got to be 50 and not a ounce more. Made me reorganize my bags and take things out and put it in my carry-on. She didn't. She just checked the bags through. It was great. United has been a really great experience. I know United's getting a lot of poop these days, but my experience in May with them, which was a similar one, where the check-in agent at Kansas City went to the work to do the same thing and get my bags all the way to Seoul. And now here, really great people. So United's been getting some poop. My flight here was extremely pleasant. Even in economy class, we got drinks and snacks, and everyone was friendly, and they worked really hard to keep the cabin clean. So I can recommend United for your domestic travel needs, at least for shorter haul things. So from here, I'm proceeding onward on Turkish Airlines on that award ticket I mentioned that I booked using credit card points, from Dulles to Istanbul. And in Istanbul, actually I'll start in order of operations. I'm flying on a Boeing 777, which is a wide body. It's one of their Turkish Airlines old configurations, the one that has the Boeing Dreamliner, 787 Dreamliner, that has the nice new Turkish Air product. That's leaving like now. I wasn't on that one. That one was not available for an award booking, not surprisingly. So the Boeing 777 is a wide-body jet, and it is the old configuration. And in terms of business class lie-flat configurations, it's kind of the worst in the industry because the configuration of the business class cabin is a 2-3-2 configuration, meaning a row or a column of 2 seats next to each other. So only the window has no direct aisle access. Then 3 in the middle, where the poor person in the middle has to climb over a human no matter what to go powder their nose, and then 2 on the other side. So it's an older model, but I have flown this model before, and I have to say that for sleeping, the seats are more comfortable than the new Boeing Dreamliner product because they're wider and they're open and there's no footwell. So you're just completely laid out flat, and the seats are wider and your legs aren't bound up in any way. So for actually overnight sleeping, I kind of prefer this older model. Yeah. And the food is the same, the catering is the same, and Turkish Airlines in-flight catering is really excellent, so I'm excited about that. Trying to make sure I'm hungry for it. Let's see. What else? So from there, that also means I'm going to head over to the Turkish Airlines lounge after this because I have access to that because I'm flying Turkish Airlines, and Turkish Airlines has really good food, and also in their lounge they have mocha, Turkish coffee, which I love. So we land in Istanbul, and then I have a long layover, but what's great about Turkish Airlines, whether you're flying economy class or business class, if you fly with them and you have a layover longer than 9 hours, they have a Tour Istanbul program for free. They take you from the airport, give you a tour of sites, certain historic sites in Istanbul, take you out for a meal, all complimentary by the way, and then take you back to the airport. And if you don't get back in time because of the tour, then they put you up in a hotel and put you on the next available flight free of charge, no issues or hassle for you. So I'm excited about this, but also kind of not because it's very cold in Istanbul right now. It's like 33 degrees or Fahrenheit or 2 degrees centigrade. It's not the best time of year to be in Istanbul. And I have a bit of a respiratory infection that I caught from 30 of my bestest friends at a medieval 15th century immersive event I just ran a couple of days ago. So we'll see how I'm feeling once I land. My flight is a nighttime flight. It does leave at 9:50, which means it will be my natural sleepy time when we actually get in the air. So I might actually get proper sleep and then be actually refreshed for Tour Istanbul in the morning. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If I do manage to get on the tour, then I will promise to do some live streaming if I can, if it's feasible, if I have enough bandwidth, because I'll be on roaming data at that point. Then from there, from Istanbul to Seoul, and that's where I have to grab my bags and get on a bus and take the bus down to Daegu. So that is my trajectory. We will see how it all goes. Let's see. I talked about booking points. I talked about making, if you can book your multiple tickets through One Alliance, then you can get that flight all bundled up, that itinerary all bundled up, and get your baggage checked through. If anyone has any comments, please do let me know below. For people just joining, I'll just give you a view of the Capital One lounge here. Right, so there it is. There is some of the seating, and behind that Jurassic-looking plant is the bar, and it's definitely a full-service bar with some very high-quality booze, which I don't drink, so I don't really get my full money's worth, I guess, if I actually paid for this. And over there under Refresh is where the buffet is. And I'm sorry that I can't really get up and walk around with this live stream. There's just way too many people here for that. It would be obtrusive, and I don't want to make my fellow lounge guests feel uncomfortable by being on camera. Plus I don't have permission to do so, and a lot of lounges don't like it if you don't ask for permission to live stream and walk around, and I don't blame them. Lounges are supposed to be a place where people can feel safe and comfortable, and not that they're being broadcast all over the internet. Anyway, any questions about anything I've mentioned? For those just joining, once this posts, there's like 19 minutes before this where I think I give some good information, maybe interesting, engaging storytelling. Oh, that's what I forgot to tell you. TSA strikes again. So some of you know I have very picky tastes when it comes to butter. And butter is a food group for me, but I specifically eat only like Irish or New Zealand grass-fed butter. And frequently the places I go you can't purchase it there, so I take it with me. For the last 4.5 years, I have been traveling and in my carry-on taking my Irish or New Zealand butter with me. And today TSA pulled my bag aside, pulled out the butter, and said, "Oh, sorry, counts as a liquid. It's not frozen. So we're going to have to confiscate this because you can't have butter. But if you'd frozen it, it would be fine. So next time, just remember to freeze it." So they confiscated 1.5 pounds of butter from me. And I had a mad moment where I really thought, maybe, I wonder how much of this butter I can eat before it's time to board my plane. They offered to let me go back out of security and check the butter. I'm not certain how I was going to do that without a suitcase. But the cost of checking a third bag would certainly not be the cost of me replacing the butter in some other way, some other time. What's really funny about that, though, they found the 3.5 pounds of butter that I'd sealed up in a nice bag, but they didn't find the 1/4 pound of butter that I still had in a little Ziploc baggie that I'd already opened and started consuming. So that's how important it really is that they confiscated my dangerous, unfrozen butter. And apparently frozen is the thing that makes the difference between, deadly butter and acceptable butter. I'm really tired of, am I the only one who's tired of the TSA security theater? I mean, there are things they should be looking for certain. Guns, ammunition, knives, but nail clippers, tiny little snips that you use to cut thread, butter, peanut butter, water, none of these things are going to, you can't, and the difficulty of creating an explosive substance device on a flying plane with the amount of materials you can get through, it's nonsense. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, everyone, that's kind of, if we don't, let me see if we're missing any questions. I just realized this doesn't automatically show me chat necessarily. Okay, any questions before we part ways, ladies and gentlemen? I'm heading from here over to the Turkish Air Lounge, and I'm going to actually get some walking in because I'm going to be sitting on a plane for 10 hours, and I do have time, and I do like to get a little bit of exercise before I get on a plane and sit on it for a while. And Dulles has a pretty walkable subterranean tunnel connecting all of the terminals except for Terminal D. For those who haven't been to Dulles, Terminal D is still serviced by these weird people mover vehicles that look like something out of Disney World, Futureland circa 1960. It's amazing, and apparently they were supposed to be a temporary solution to moving passengers to and from the main terminal from Terminal D, but they haven't finished. 50, 60 years later, 70 years later, I don't know how long it's been since they first built it, probably 60 years, they still haven't gotten around to finishing the proper connection with Terminal D. Gotta love infrastructure projects. Okay, otherwise, any questions, anyone? If not, then I wish you all a very safe travels, and may your adventures be creative. And like I said, if you've joined late, you might want to go back and watch the first part of this. It might be interesting or it might be irritating. I have a personality that polarizes. People seem to either love or hate me, and there isn't much in the middle. So if you're watching, hopefully it's because you enjoy it, not because I enrage you or make you angry. Anyway, I'm going to call that. I see nothing there in the chat. So yeah, I wish you all a lovely day, everyone. Happy travels. Bye.